90% of traders fail their prop firm challenge, meaning that 90% of traders will never get funded. But for that small 10% group of traders that do get funded, what does it mean for them? Because at the end of the day, getting funded is only half the battle. The other half is going on to receive a payout, and the number of traders that get a funded account and receive a payout is even smaller. So this raises the question of how should you actually approach and manage a funded account? Maybe you're a funded trader watching this, maybe you are working towards that goal. So that's the question. How do we approach that funded account so that we can win the second half of the battle? Well, in 2021, I became a funded trader with FTMO. I quit my job. I went on to receive multiple payouts, with the largest one being for just under $7,000. And so today I'm going to break down exactly how I approach this funded account, the very first $100,000 funded account that I received, so that by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to approach that account when you do receive it. And lastly, make sure you stick around until the end, because I'll be sharing one very specific tool that I use during my challenge and funded phase that made a major difference in my trading. Okay, so the very first thing that I had to learn the hard way when it comes to having a funded account is that unfortunately, a funded account is not a lottery ticket. You see, when I passed my very first $100,000 challenge, I received it, and before I even started taking any trades on it, I was already online shopping for cars, for watches, APs, Rolexes, you name it. I was wasting so much of my day just thinking that I had won the lottery. I got so ahead of myself. And the thing is, this is a lot more common than we would like to think. And unfortunately, we can do this thinking it's harmless. Oh, it's just fun. We're dreaming. But really what happens is it leads to us getting more and more attached to that funded account. You can't count your eggs before they hatch. You can't think that just because you have this account, you're gold and you're handing in your 2-week notice, you're going full time. That is not what it is. Remember what I said at the beginning. Getting funded is half the battle. The second half of the battle, the most difficult part of the battle, is actually getting that first payout. So remember, a funded account is not a lottery ticket. Number 2, everything with a funded account is on steroids. If you haven't traded a funded account, you don't yet know what I mean, but you can probably picture it. If you have traded a funded account, you know exactly what I am talking about. Everything is 100x. The joy of making money on it is 100x, but the stress, the worry, the panic of a losing trade is also 100x. First off, we can look at the pressure. You see, you've worked so hard to get the account, perhaps for years. Like myself, I was trading for 5 years before I got my first funded account, and that pressure can lead to you not thinking critically, to not thinking objectively, to swaying from your trading plan, from swaying from the things that you did to get the account in the first place. Another one is the overall emotions, the excitement. You can be so excited to have that account that you start jumping into trades. We see this at Lark all the time. We'll see traders receive their funded account, and within minutes, they have opened dozens of trades. I'm not exaggerating. Knowing this, what is the game plan? How can you stop yourself from falling into this trap that so many traders fall into? Well, I think there's a couple of things that you can do. One is, as always with trading, you need to remain stoic. You need to have your focus and your energy towards the things that are within your control and ignoring everything else. You see, with a funded account, you want to make a ton of money, but unfortunately with trading, you don't get to decide or dictate whether or not you make money. The market doesn't care about what you want, which means your goal shouldn't be making 2% a month. It shouldn't be making $5,000 a month. Your goal should be executing your trading plan flawlessly. Connected to that, the second thing you can do, which I think all traders should do even during the challenge phase, which is that you need to focus on inputs rather than outputs. You could be doing everything beautifully, but you could still be not hitting your goals because you have the wrong goals that are outside of your control. So to get a little bit more specific, a little bit more concrete, a couple of the goals that I set when taking a challenge or when having my funded account was I would only trade on the 4-hour and daily time frame. I would only trade A+ setups, okay? Very, very specific. It is within my control what type of setups that I do take. So my ultimate goal was to follow flawlessly my trading plan rather than making 2%, 5%, 10%, whatever your goal is. that's outside of your control. And so overall, bringing that together, I really think that the majority of traders that receive a funded account that don't receive a payout, the reason behind it is because of these emotions, because of the heightened emotions of things being on steroids. The answer to that, the antidote, is to take a stoic approach, to focus on the things that are within your control. Quick break, I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, which is PipMunch, the #1 daily newsletter for traders that are trying to get funded. It is 100% free. It's a daily newsletter where we break down prop firm strategies, case studies on traders that have received huge payouts as large as $200,000. We just sent that email out, and all other kinds of good stuff like why the market is moving, fundamental analysis, trusted by over 27,000 traders, and it's 100% free. You can join that down below. Okay, the third thing that I did when it came to trading and managing my funded account was focusing on only A+ setups. You see, I am very adamant on your #1 goal of taking a prop firm challenge is not passing. That's your secondary goal. My primary goal was to not lose the money that I invested into the challenge. I think there's a Warren Buffett quote where he says, rule #1 of investing is to not lose money. When taking a challenge, I am very adamant on focusing on those high quality setups. However, caveat as always, you can sometimes get away with an A- setup, even a B+ setup. And I myself got away with it because when I took my FTMO challenges, there was a 30-day time limit. However, that is not the case when it comes to a funded account. The level of strictness that I had with my funded account was just bar none, super strict, A+ only. A- was not going to cut it. And so at a very high level, an A+ setup for me would be the 4-hour or daily time frame with 3+ confluences. You're looking for an area on the chart where 2, 3, 4 of those confluences align together. And so A+ setups, absolutely key with a funded account. The fourth thing that I did was immediately upon receiving my funded account is I started to diversify. When you pass, you're feeling good, you have momentum. And I think in trading, half the battle is just having that momentum. And so I made sure that I took advantage of it. Once I received the account, I paid for another one and I started taking it. Now, this has a couple of benefits. One, you're going to just make more money by starting to stack your challenges. But secondly, it's going to dramatically reduce the amount of stress and reliance that you have on your current funded account. If you only have one funded account, you're not taking any other challenge. If you lose that account, you're basically screwed. You have no backup plan. You got nothing else going for you. Whereas if you're already taking a challenge, then, if you're up 2, 3, 4, 5%, you lose your funded account, you're close to getting funded again, or even better, you're trading your funded account, you pass this challenge, you now have 2, which means the reliance on your first one is so much less, and that has so many benefits. You're not going to be as stressed about it. You're not going to be as reliant on it. You're not going to be as eager to make money with it because, it's not all or nothing. You now have a couple of options. And so I think that is absolutely key. Okay, lastly, as promised at the beginning of the video, I want to show you something, a lesson, a tool that I use that dramatically transformed my trading. Now, if you are not new to the channel, you know that I am a massive believer in fundamental analysis. The market isn't jumping 500 pips because it hits a trend line. It's moving 500 pips because of something that's going on in the real world. Now, and so when it came to managing my funded account, following the news and fundamental analysis was absolutely pivotal. We see it all the time. Traders could be doing well or poorly on their funded account. Whatever their performance is, they are trading the account, and then some major news event comes out and they get absolutely burned. And oftentimes it's simply because they didn't even know that a news event was coming. And so I want to show you at a very, very basic level things that you can implement today. Fundamental analysis is tough. It's always a work in progress. Your analysis is never done. But this is something that you can implement literally today. It takes 5 minutes and will make a massive difference in your trading. Okay, the very first website that I like to use is forexlive.com. It's 100% free, and the way that it works is there are analysts working around the clock regardless of the session. They've got a guy working the Australian session, Japanese session, European session, London, New York session, you name it, they always have somebody going. If there is a big spike in the market, if there is something going on, you can jump over to Forex Live and they will have a breakdown of what is going on. One of my personal favorite things to do is to go to more and then session wraps. This will be a summary of what happened during a certain session. Now, if you are a regular human like I am, you eventually have to sleep, which means you're going to miss a session or two. So when you wake up, you can integrate it into your daily trading routine. You can check the session wrap, which will have all the headlines that took place during that day, along with a little bit of a breakdown here. Super easy, super great. I highly recommend you integrate this into your daily trading routine. The second resource that I love to use is an obvious one, which is CNBC. Just keeping an eye on what's happening in the market, the major headline news that are driving the markets is absolutely critical. You could look at the S&P 500 as we see right here, and you could see, oh, it's doing well. However, oil prices, right? You might miss, by looking at the chart, you could see that stocks are doing well, but you might miss the bigger picture, which of course is oil, which is driving the market right now. Everything that's going on in the Middle East, oil has been absolutely skyrocketing, which again is a tremendous opportunity for traders. You might have missed that or not known about that if you weren't looking at these headlines. Again, fundamental analysis, if you're trading Forex, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be following stock news or macroeconomics. It's so important. So CNBC, another great one. Another one we have is Bloomberg. Bloomberg, you often need a subscription to. I've had a subscription for years. So this is very similar to CNBC. You can get some major headlines, stay up to date on the pulse of the market, but Bloomberg has more deep dives than CNBC. So sometimes there'll be a topic on something going on in the economy that will really go in depth. We'll have a lot of research. And so Bloomberg is really great for that. Another one that I like is Zero Hedge. See, Zero Hedge, some people hate it. It can be, controversial at times, but I really like it. They'll have a lot of deep dives that you won't see elsewhere, especially on the market, the Federal Reserve, that type of thing. So that's great. Another one is TweetDeck. Now, there was a bit of a glitch happening here. I wasn't able to log in. However, TweetDeck is a phenomenal tool. You see, the age of social media, what's incredible is that you can get breaking news on Twitter before you'll get it from a major media website like CNBC or like Bloomberg. So TweetDeck allows you to add a whole bunch of people, and then it's set up as a deck. So this isn't really a great way of showing you, but definitely check out TweetDeck. You can follow central banks, which is what I do, a number of analysts, and they will have breaking news, which will be faster than other websites. And so you can follow that. You can set it up really, really well based on central banks, analysts, forecasts, you name it. So just check out TweetDeck. It's fun to play around with, and I definitely think it is worth it. But at the bare minimum, you have to be following Forex Live. You have to be watching these major headlines, because that's going to help you avoid getting burned with your funded account. I hope you guys got value out of this video. If you are ready to take a challenge, if you are ready to become a funded trader, click the link down below, Lark Funding. We have a whole bunch of unique features. We currently have a $500 24-hour payout guarantee. If you don't receive your payout within 24 hours, we'll pay you an extra $500. We have instant account credentials. We have a TradingView integration. We have CTrader. If you breach your daily drawdown limit, you can still receive a payout. We've been in business for over 2 years, processing payouts on time. We would love to have you. As always, if you have any questions, drop them down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.